Fresh Start at Your Library was the brainchild of Tanya Garcia, who I adore. Let me just say that right out front. She always comes up with terrific ideas that are not just theoretical, but ideas that can be practically applied in the library world, which is why whenever I got a phone call from Tanya, I'd say I knew something great was coming. So Tanya created, I believe it was in 2009, a program she called Fresh Start at Your Library. The idea was to give people who were returning home after having been in prison a fresh start. And what better place to do it than a library? People who have been in prison find the prison library to be one of the safest places where people aren't attacked, people respect each other, and people are there for one reason, to learn how to reinvent themselves and start a new life. So Tanya came up with this idea that, well, the library is a place where anybody can walk in, nobody's judging you, you're not walking into a place that says, formerly incarcerated, come here for a job. Nobody knows why you're at the library. So what she did was she started interviewing people one-on-one to say, do you need help getting a home, finding a place to live, getting training, finding a job? When she'd called and told me about the program, she said, I think that we could do this statewide. I'm creating a partnership with the State Parole Board. We could invite the State Department of Labor and Workforce Development. I said, I love, love, love this idea. So the State Library, with support from the State Librarian, we decided to apply for a grant from the Institute of Museum and Library Services, and we were successful. We got a grant in the amount of $628,774, which enabled us to start Fresh Start in Patterson, Newark, Trenton, Long Branch, Cumberland County, and Atlantic City. It enabled us to hire a fantastic project director, John Dye Harrell, who had been in prison, came out, successfully reinvented himself, started a program, the Center for Returning Citizens, and we kind of stole John Dye away from that to be our project manager, and we hired 2 social workers to work in the libraries throughout the state.
So Fresh Start started here at the Long Branch Free Public Library in 2009. It started when I was the Diversity and Literacy Coordinator. I worked in the Technology and Career Center, helping and serving patrons that were coming in, either looking for a job or trying to find some help with computer training and so forth. One of the things I noticed when we were assisting people in the lab with job seeking was that they were checking off that they had been incarcerated on the applications more and more. Secondly, Fresh Start was extremely personal to me because I had seen too many of my own family and friends in our community repeat that cycle. I say the cycle that is almost set up for failure. And to see my own family go through that, I realized and researched the connection between literacy and incarceration and knew that it was really the library's role to do something.
For those who are formerly incarcerated, the library has always been a safe space. It's been a space where we went to gain knowledge and to try to attain freedom. And it was just a space where we felt comfortable and at home. When people do come home from prison, often the library is one of their first stops because it has computers, laptops, Wi-Fi, and it has resources that many people do not have when they first hit the street. So that being the case, it was a natural progression to place a reentry program in libraries. And the reason I say it was innovative was because it involved social workers, embedding social workers in the libraries to be a part of this process.
Working in libraries, we often come in contact with people that are formerly incarcerated, right? People that need services. We actually do these services on a daily basis, so it's nothing new to public libraries. It's something that's been an ongoing thing. So when you talk about Fresh Start and some of the resources that they just have specifically for those formerly incarcerated, I think it goes a long way. It helps out agencies like public libraries or institutions like public libraries to be able to provide those services. Having a social worker on site, I think that's very key to the growth of individuals coming back into society.
The most innovative thing about Fresh Start is absolutely the fact that it happens in libraries. libraries being the staging ground for this social innovation, libraries being such an inclusive space in practically every single community.
As a social worker for Fresh Start, we were actually placed in the libraries, so we would go there 1 or 2 times a week and spend the day there. If somebody came in who needed help, we would do an intake with them, which would go through different areas of their life, so where they needed that help.
They sometimes don't have, an address. They sometimes don't have an ID that you would need to, tap into some of the resources that are available within the government. So Fresh Start kind of brings all those resources together, kind of like a buffer between government resources or community resources and people who might not have the know-how to get them.
During the pandemic, the Fresh Start initiative pivoted to more of an online resource. When the state shut down, libraries were closed to the public, but we were able to still provide virtual services through programs such as Fresh Start, allowing to provide social services to previously incarcerated individuals.
Because of COVID, the chat feature on the website really was a lifesaver, because those who didn't have access to Zoom could still chat through a public computer or even their phone to reach the social worker and the services that were needed. So it really, during COVID, it was the one lifeline we had before we set up anything else, which was really helpful for us and very helpful for those who were accessing the program.
Fresh Start initiative did bring many libraries into halfway houses. Traditionally, libraries do have mini libraries throughout cities, right? With schools, parks, and basically many libraries actually are curated to have materials that are used by that specific audience. For in halfway houses, these are resources and books and materials specifically designed to help the formerly incarcerated in their own space.
And we also created 6 resource guides so that in every area that Fresh Start was functioning, we can not only provide the services, but give potential clients a resource guide that allowed them to search on their own for whatever services that were offered in that particular community outside of our services. So often, the information and the resources are there, but if people don't know about them, they're unable to get in contact and access them.
There was a lot of marketing put in and a lot of energy put into getting our marketing materials out into the public. So we had posters throughout the library, and we had pamphlets and posters hanging up in local community things such as barbershops, local convenience stores, churches. We wanted to make sure that we were trying to reach them wherever they were. So we made sure that we pushed and pushed and pushed.
The people who were involved in this program in New Jersey were very dedicated to helping folks out. And the people who were coming out really, really wanted to have a chance.
So the funds that we received at Cumberland County Library were used to hire an employee whose job was specifically to aid and assist those recently released with job searches, computer classes, social services, as well as hire a social worker to work in the library once a week to meet with those same people to help them secure housing, secure interviews for jobs, and such.
I see in the community a lot of people in need, Some people, they don't have too much money to buy the food or stuff. They go through hard situations, and over here they got everything fresh. I like it.
It's been such an exciting, rewarding trip with all the Fresh Start partners and the staff. Getting the grant was really, really thrilling, and just building off of all the energy from the staff which was hired, including John Dye Harrell, the program manager, and the 2 social workers. All their creative energy really helped propel the program forward, and it's been very, very exciting.
I had a gentleman come through the program. I had asked him in conversation, well, what's your dream? Like, if you could do anything, what would you do? And he said, well, I'd want my high school diploma. And I said, well, that's absolutely doable at a library. We can help you study. We can get you access to the test. And he said, well, I'm 30-something. He goes, what do I look like getting a GED right now? Like, why now? And I said, well, Next year, you're going to be 33 with or without a GED. So why not try and do it now? And I said, I'll help you. We can get it. And he was amazed. But we went through this with him, and we got him GED classes, and we got him studying, eventually passed his GED, he graduated, had a high school diploma. Then he decided he was going to go on to college. And he applied at our local community college, Brookdale. He got into Brookdale, and I remember him coming in. He said, Miss T, how do I write a bibliography? What's a bibliography? I don't know what I'm... So I sat him through that, and we did that. Then he decided to write a business plan and go on to get a CDL, and actually opened up a trucking company in the city. Full circle story that just happened was a family member of mine was in a halfway house, a transitional house, and was going to work from the halfway house, and he was walking. And this gentleman was driving and pulled over, and he said, "You're related to Miss T, aren't you?" And he said, "Yes." And he goes, "When you get out, call me up. I've got a job for you because she saved my life." Full story. And he did come home, and he did call him up for a job.
We certainly don't want individuals who have been rehabilitated in our justice system. We don't want them to recidivate. So we don't want them to go back into jail. At the same time, we want to guarantee the safety of our community so that our community members don't feel like, oh, these individuals are coming back to our community and we don't want them here. So this is a way to help both sides. It's a very soft approach to reentry, and it's usually extremely trusted by local government, state government, and by the clients themselves. They feel very comfortable coming to the library.
Public libraries are not about books anymore, right? We're a community hub. We're a center of information. This is where the communities come and congregate, right? This is the one institution in a city that is very vital to its growth. So when you talk about any of the customers, formerly incarcerated, homeless, any individual patron city that needs these services, we provide them, right? And the best place for a program like Fresh Start is a public library. It's a public library, public building, and usually our residents come in for various services, and services such as what we're providing with the Fresh Start initiative.
First of all, thank all of you for allowing us to film. All right? As we said earlier, many times we don't film because we're real. We don't come here to promote ourselves. We come here because as a group, we know that we need the support of each one of us. But the reality is, you need to tell your story. If you don't tell your story, no one is going to know what you've been through.
I didn't go in as a senior, but I came out as a senior, and things were a little difficult because of my age. However, I was fortunate enough to come home to family, come home to my loved one, which made it a little easier. But of course, dealing with trauma, that continues, no matter what. I come to this group every week because I'm amongst family, my extended family, and I'll be here.
I'm gonna tell you something, I was blessed because I came home to a family. I had a strong support system when I came home, but a lot of guys are not fortunate to have that.
I started my confinement in New Jersey at 12 years old in Jamesburg. When I went to Jamesburg, my whole neighborhood was there. We was raised up in all them juvenile facilities. This last time I did 27. The first time I did 18. I've been to boarding town, all them stuff. I'm down for trying to save the babies. My goal is to stop them from doing what we had to do.
I think it's very, very important to definitely secure funds, to make sure that you have funds for programs like this throughout the country, throughout the state, allowing to be able to rehabilitate, allowing to support some of our residents, some of our citizens of this country that really need it. I think that programs like these are idle. They're definitely a benefit, especially in New Jersey.
In Cumberland County, we're unique in the fact that we have 5 different prisons here in Cumberland County, as well as a halfway house. So programs like Fresh Start are needed here more than anywhere else at this point in the state. Federal funding would really be beneficial because this is something that, even though we've piloted it in New Jersey, should be done throughout the nation.
You know, we said all along, and this was Tanya's idea, and we agreed 1,000%, let's not just think Long Branch, let's not just think in New Jersey, there's a whole world out there. So let's create a template, and everything we're going to do, let's put it step by step online, free to anyone. Let's give presentations at the American Library Association conference. This works. You know, it works, and it's not that difficult, and we're here to help you. And we'd highly recommend that all across the country, people take, and some libraries, I must say, were doing similar work, but we really wanted to take the Fresh Start model with the social workers and a project director who'd had real life experience, somebody who had been in prison and turned his life around, take that model and share it with the world.